Welcome to the Mosh Pit, your home for unsigned punk, rock, and metal artists, where your music goes to be heard.
Welcome to the Mosh Pit, your host, Wes Everett, with my special guest, Mr. Gregg Fox.
Hey everybody from Stereo Sound Records.
So, Greg, how long have you been in the music industry? What are you working on, and how you been?
Well, I've been pretty darn good. I can't complain at all. I've been here in Las Vegas for the last 10 years. Originally, very so my mom and dad had me playing keyboards and piano when I was 5 years old and taking lessons. But 18 years old, I started taking it seriously and getting into rock and roll and playing in bands, and played with just about everybody there is up in the Seattle area. And that took me to a situation where back in the 90s, I was thinking rock and roll was kind of dead because grunge was killing me in Seattle as a keyboard player. So I ended up moving to Phoenix, Arizona for a while. I was doing a big land deal down in Belize, a big timber deal that took me down to Belize on several occasions, and enjoyed that experience. Actually, slept in a hut with the chief of a Mayan Indian village there, which was pretty interesting during that experience. But after the Phoenix days, where I didn't play music for probably at least 5 or 6 years, I ended up finding an amazing band in Phoenix called Superhero. And my bassist, Mikey Bones, who passed away in 2017. Michael and I started putting the Renaissance Rock Orchestra together when I moved to Venice Beach, California around 2010. And he and I said, there's a lot of things going on here. We should put a show together, which we did. And ever since I've been amazing. I've worked with so many amazing shows in Las Vegas and toured the country a lot. But during that whole period of time, Mikey and I were writing and recording songs for the Renaissance Rock Orchestra. I think it was 2014 we released our first record called the White Gate Trilogy, which you can hear on Spotify and Apple Music and all the other streaming platforms. But so that's kind of mostly what I'm up to. It's all about the Renaissance Rock Orchestra these days, mostly. I have some kind of cool top secret projects that I think I let you in on a little bit already, Wes.
Nice.
But, yeah, it's all about the Renaissance Rock Orchestra. And, we just recorded this last year during the COVID pandemic. Our COVID release is called A Song of Hope, which has been really garnishing some amazing reviews and a lot of excitement and energy from everybody in the industry, not only fans, but industry people in LA, and management company out in LA that handles things for the Renaissance. I've been working for several years on a residency here in Las Vegas. As a matter of fact, back there in pre-COVID, right about when March was about to land, we had a nice big multi-million-dollar investor that was going to put the show in a casino here in Las Vegas, which is how I've always wanted to brand the band and actually, build a following, get people to know about the band and to start really enjoying the music. But that didn't work out so well with the whole pandemic, and so the investor jumped ship. So we're kind of back at trying to recoup and go that direction. But in the meantime, we created a great record, which you can hear most of it on YouTube, and we haven't got it out on Spotify yet because the record labels that we're negotiating with don't want us to release it quite yet until we have some ink dry on the paperwork when it comes to getting it out on the streaming platforms.
That makes sense.
That was a pretty good overview.
Yeah.
That was like the 3-minute overview of Gregg Fox's life. Well, yeah, in a nutshell,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. What is that? The abbreviated version?
That's the abbreviated version. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a long story. As a matter of fact, when I was living in the Belize land deal, which crashed and burned because one of our main timber guys who worked for Weyerhaeuser passed away, I I ended up buying a sailboat and sailing around the Bahamas for 7 years. So that was a really amazing experience myself. But I didn't play any music that entire period of time, and I missed it so horribly.
Wow.
So
That sounds like so
West
much
Florida,
fun.
it was definitely a bucket list kind of thing. That's my whole life has kind of been like that. It's just always pushing the envelope and doing a lot of things for all the experiences I've had musically and otherwise. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I landed in Florida after getting off where I was living on a beautiful house right on the Grand Canal in Venice Beach, and started just some initial inklings of what the music of the Renaissance Rock Orchestra might be like.
Yeah.
When I moved here to just to put a show together with Mikey Bones, we ended up going out and seeing a lot of Trans-Siberian Orchestra shows, every Christmas.
Ooh.
And I really enjoyed the show. The Christmas thing was maybe a little bit too much, but I really enjoyed the classical metal aspect of it. And I was thinking to myself, I could do that. So when I originally started putting the concept together with Mikey for the Renaissance Rock Orchestra, it was kind of a TSO template. A lot of the songs were actually completely instrumental, kind of classical versions. Our first song was a song called JS Rock that was very TSO, that I took a Bach piece. It is called Solfeggietto. It's a piano piece that a lot of pianists use as a warm-up. So a lot of people don't take the piece seriously, but I've been playing it my whole life, and I thought it'd be a really neat thing to do a metal thing with, right? So I ended up taking the piece, which is about 2 minutes long. It's a very short piece, and I expanded on all the themes and melodies in that piece, and called JS Rock, that has always been kind of a crowd favorite for us. It's a good starting point for people to listen to the Renaissance, because it has that whole TSO vibe. And I was thinking all the investors really understand that TSO had created a brand new genre that had never really existed before, and that they would jump on board and really get into Renaissance Rock Orchestra. I sort of changed the marketing scenario of what we were versus TSO, in that between my experiences in the past with all the well-known rockers I've worked with in Heart and Queensryche in the Seattle days, that we have kind of this new angle, which would be TSO, but with rock stars, right?
Yeah.
So on our first record, we had Scott Rockenfield from Queensryche, and we actually had Robin McCauley singing the first song we did off the White Gate trilogy, a song called The Author of Mystery. That was our first rock song with vocals. Everything else was all instrumental on that first EP out of 5 songs. But then when we went to the second album, bringing Mikey Bones in, he, being from Queens and a New York guy, he knew everybody in New York that had ever done anything. It doesn't matter who it is. And so we had an amazing lineup on the second record. The second record's called In Times of Old, and you can actually listen to that on Spotify and Apple Music. And every song has a different drummer on it. It starts with Vinny Appice from Black Sabbath and Dio, and it includes Ben Smith from Heart, Simon Wright from AC/DC, Brent Fitz from Slash and Alice Cooper, Roxy Petrucci from Vixen. It just goes on and on and on. It's an amazing compilation of drummers. But also I used multiple guitar players, multiple singers. That record, In Times of Old, has 27 different rock stars on it. 2 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame members. We have Alan White from Yes on drums, which was a bucket list thing for me, since that's my favorite all-time band, being a keyboard player, the whole Rick Wakeman thing. But we also had Howard Leese from Heart, who's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Heart, and he also tours with Paul Rodgers. So yeah, an amazing compilation that we put together on In Times of Old, and a lot of that was due to Mikey Bones, because he knew so many people. When I first moved to Vegas, besides playing for Miley Cyrus for the Academy of Country Music Awards, where I played piano for her on the song "The Climb," I ended up working with a lot of amazing people here in town. Las Vegas at the time had kind of become this this boneyard of classic rock musicians from LA, because everybody was moving out of LA because it was so expensive, and the industry was not what it used to be, et cetera, et cetera. So Paul Shortino, the singer of Rough Cut, started working with me on the first Renaissance Rock Orchestra song, and I ended up doing a number of tracks with him, with Rough Cut and King Cobra, where I did a remake of the Vanilla Fudge song "You Keep Me Hanging On," which was like a thing. It was just like, wow, really? I can't believe I'm playing organ on "You Keep Me Hanging On," such a classic, epic, timeless hit. And then I was invited to start working in a show called the Rock Gods Hall of Fame. And as a matter of fact, behind me, I think I have my Rock Gods Hall of Fame record there on the wall, but my award. But during numerous shows that we did with the Rock Gods Hall of Fame, I ended up working with Bumblefoot, who I invited to play on In Times of Old, our second record. So he does a solo on that record that's just phenomenal, as only Bumblefoot could do. We also have George Lynch on guitar, playing on The Author of Mystery with Robin McCauley singing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
And on the last song of In Times of Old was Simon Wright on drums and Tony Harnell doing the vocals. It's a song called The Maker of Dreams. We have Joel Hoekstra on guitar from Cher and Whitesnake. Really, really an amazing, brilliant talent. Yeah. I was so lucky and blessed to have all of them hear this music and go, wow, that is so cool and so different. I want to be on it. So just got really, really lucky and blessed with that record, having 27 different artists. So yeah, it's kind of a must listen. You should go check out In Times of Old on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever your favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be sure to check that out and pass that one on to our fans too.
Yeah. Oh, another thing that I did with the Rock Gods Hall of Fame, I got to work with Chris Slade, another drummer from AC/DC. So since being in Vegas, I was able to not only perform with Chris Slade, but have Simon Wright be on one of the Renaissance records. And it was really cool. I worked with Chris. He's in a band with Janaea Ebbs and Jason Ebbs, who were the people putting on the Rock Gods Hall of Fame shows here in Las Vegas. And they have an original band called Ecotonic. But so in the shows we did with Chris, we did what is it? The old Manfred Mann song, "Blinded by," another bucket list moment for me to do the keyboard stuff in "Blinded by the Light" with the original drummer. Chris Slade from AC/DC was the original drummer in Manfred Mann that did that hit. So it was just like, wow. So the things I've gone through since I've been in Vegas has just been unreal. Just played with just about everybody there is, and they all come to town. There's so many shows in town that I've been really, really blessed that way.
Yeah. AC/DC, probably my top three bands. I mean,
right?
Easily right there. I could say top one.
Even as a keyboard player, you cannot deny AC/DC. You cannot deny the sound, the energy, everything about that band. So, to have worked with two of the drummers, I hope to have Chris Slade on an upcoming Renaissance Rock Orchestra. Might as well get as many AC/DC drummers on these.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, Phil Rudd, their original guy, he's super talented and really good too, but I was always a Chris Slade guy. I guess because he was the one when they did the tour through Atlanta back in 94, 93. I just think his playing is killer. Just always have.
It really is. He's such an imposing force behind the drums, and his whole look and his energy and just everything about Chris is just like
Yes, everything metal right there.
Oh yeah, love it.
So we've touched base on your inspirations as far as the ones who influenced you, but where do you get your inspiration for writing songs?
You know, that's really a hard thing to put your finger on, but it's a good question. You know, starting at 5, and then I followed through with my music degree in community college and in university, Seattle Pacific University in Seattle. I have a lot of classical training. I also started playing violin. I just love the sound of orchestras. I was just fascinated with the blend of all those instruments and the power that they had. So I've always loved strings and symphonies. So I started playing violin, and so I've played a lot of classical music on violin and on piano. And so a lot of it definitely comes from all that history. And that's, of course, when I first started really getting into rock and roll. And, you know, my first things that I loved were Led Zeppelin, but it was like Jethro Tull and Yes and Emerson, like Palmer, that pianist, really inspired me with all the keyboards and all the melodies and the intricacies of all their pieces. So all those things added up together kind of inspire me. But when I really started sitting down and writing the second record here in Las Vegas, my girlfriend at the time had passed away in 2015. My original party days in Las Vegas kind of felt like they were over a little bit. It was time to get serious, and instead of just go star to create things that would continue carrying on my career. And so I sat here at my keyboard, and I have a beautiful plate glass window right here that's about 25 feet wide that looks right out over the strip. It's really quite beautiful. And my piano is right here. And so I sat there, and for almost 2 years, I just sat night after night, just writing and recording. And the music, it's just everything. My training kind of came together, and it felt like this music just flowed out of me. I didn't even really try. I didn't work out of it at all. JS Rock, that first piece, it was kind of like a divine inspiration. It felt like, and I also believe it's the years and years of playing. I think there's a lot of muscle memory in my hands and my fingers my brain and my fingers just work together, and it just flows out of me. And it continues to be like that when I write Renaissance Rock Orchestra music to this day. It seems to somehow be divinely. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy. If I was to go on further about that, you'd think I'd lost my mind. But it's all coming together, all those years of playing rock and roll and all that classical training. Every time I sit down at the keyboard, I have a new idea. Literally, I'm trying to practice right now for my new project. Now the new keyboard. So we're doing a show in Phoenix next weekend, and so I'm trying to put together all the. It's a very exciting, fun project. I've been asked to write and record the new Asia record, but in Phoenix next week, I get to actually play with Asia and also Lou Gramm from Foreigner. So I've been programming all the synthesizers for all these Foreigner songs and all these Asia songs, and it's quite a challenge. But I feel very blessed to be invited to not only do the show but to write the new Asia record. So that's a fun, new, exciting thing.
Dude, that's definitely awesome. Two more favorite bands of mine, especially Foreigner. I mean, just killer band.
Yeah, absolutely. The songs are so amazing, and Lou's voice is undeniably one of the best in rock and roll. There's no doubt about that. It's really interesting when you get to, as a keyboard player, to play these songs. A lot of those sounds that you hear in the songs on keyboards particularly are very proprietary. You don't hear those sounds anywhere else. They were really cutting edge when they came out with those sounds. They were using new synths that were available at the time, and clavinets, Hohner clavinets, a lot of percussive keyboard sounds. But so yeah, trying to recreate those sounds is quite a project. It takes days and days. I was asked to go on tour with Foreigner when I first landed in Venice Beach back in 2009 after getting off my sailboat and moving to Hollywood, California, to LA. So I had started programming a lot of that and kind of knew in my head when I got this opportunity to play with Lou next weekend what it was going to be like. And so I was actually searching back through my old files trying to find some of those sounds, which I was able to find. Thank goodness, because I remember that on Waiting for a Girl Like You, the intro sound itself was so difficult that when I had the speech around 2009, it took me almost 3 weeks to program just the one sound in that song. That's how time consuming it is.
Oh,
It
wow.
was perfect. As a matter of fact, when the band heard it, they said, wow, that sounds actually better than the record, and certainly better than the sounds we're using live. But the same thing is true with Asia. Now that I'm working on the Asia material for the live show next week too. In the band Asia, the keyboards kind of are the outstanding feature, whereas in most bands it's guitar. Now he's doing all this fill work. In most bands would be the work of the keyboard player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really different how the guitars versus keyboards in Asian material is. But it's been really fun listening to it and learning the songs. The songs are just really powerful and joyous, and it takes you back to that point in time, like all music does, of course. Feeling of the 80s and 90s and heat of the moments, and only time will tell. It's like, wow. So I'm really excited to play these songs.
That's awesome, man. Looking forward to hearing that. Are y'all gonna do any live streams?
Now, at this point, we don't know, because we're still just kind of at this point where things are starting to open up just enough for live music to kind of get going. So we still have a big questionable time period of where it's going to go and what's going to happen with Live Nation and lots of other shows. And a lot of people have been breaking into streaming. I haven't heard John Payne, the John Payne Asia Sphere, talk about any of the streaming shows that we may end up doing, but I would have a hard time imagining that it's not in the works. You just kind of have to stream anymore, where we're at right now, particularly. The show we're doing down in Phoenix is actually going to be with Alice Cooper too, and I'm a little bummed out because originally it was sounding like we were going to be the band for Alice, and I was going, oh wow, but Alice's son has a band, and he wanted to have his band play for Alice, and Alice caved. So, damn it, I don't get to do that. But even though it's on a golf course, they're only allowing 10% capacity for whatever this venue is at the golf course. So, obviously all the venues are quite challenged and have been just dying on the vine for the last year with the pandemic. Also, it's hard to say the ultimate direction of everything. Although with Renaissance Rock Orchestra, we've gotten a couple offers. They seem to be coming in. Actually, we have 3 offers for shows that are on the table right now. One's in September down in Arizona. But there's also a new venue opening up. It's going to be kind of a big deal out in California. And it's kind of a little bit like a Coachella type event, a 5,000 seat outdoor venue that we've been negotiating about doing a residency at. And we're also seriously discussing another residency here on the Strip. The casinos are not having large shows yet, but there is one particular venue that's open on the Strip that is doing some shows. We're thinking maybe we'll get the wheels on the tracks and get out and start doing something. That could happen, I think, potentially by June.
Nice. Nice. We'll definitely keep an eye on that.
I'm so excited to play live again next week. It's just like I'm going crazy.
Oh, yeah. I mean, after a year of like nothing, I'm so ready to find a live show and go to it too.
I think everybody feels that way. So I feel like Orchestra is in such a great position right now in Las Vegas because with all the venues that have struggled and many have closed, of course, in major cities around the country. And a lot of them will never come back, places that we always used to go see live music. And of course, I hate that. But of course, being in Las Vegas, everybody wants to come to Las Vegas worldwide. You know, we have visitors from around the world. They're all going to come to Las Vegas. They've all been just dying to see shows and to hear some live music for so long that when we actually get to that point, and it sounds like September is going to be the big breakout point for Las Vegas. You know, if things keep going the right direction, you know, if the vaccinations help bring the numbers back down and we don't have any more spikes, hopefully September will be the big breakthrough date. But I'm hoping to break out Renaissance Rock Orchestra before then in a couple different situations.
Cool. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that, and fingers crossed on everything opening up and we get back to some kind of normal.
Please. Yes, please. Yeah, I can't wait to see all of you out seeing the show, Renaissance Rock Orchestra, Asia, whatever it might be.
Exactly. Do you guys, I know it's kind of early, but have you guys looked at Atlanta coming through this way?
I have not yet, honestly, Wes. I would love to. Obviously, a great city for live music, and I'm not sure what the options are at this point. But yeah, if you have ideas, certainly connect us with the right people, and we'd love to do it.
Oh, we definitely will. Definitely get you guys over some at least opportunities and see what we can get. Because I'd love to have you guys here in Atlanta.
Nice, yeah. I'd love to be there, absolutely. I'm sure you probably haven't heard a whole lot of news about live music there yet. Is it kind of the same situation? Does it seem like it's September is what people are talking?
Some of them are, right now, I know there's a couple that have been announced for June, but I also know a couple that have been announced for July and then canceled and pushed to 2022.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot of that going on. A lot of things switching to 2022. I know all the major festivals in Europe are talking 2022.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's kind of leaning toward right now is we're going to use 2021 as a kind of like a test base.
Yeah.
See if we can get
We
things
just have to
opened
see
up
what
for
happens.
22. Yeah.
We just kind of have to go with it, see how it goes and what happens. Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Well, the new
But
record, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the new record, if you don't mind for a second,
yes,
Wes.
yes, please.
Happy to have a copy back here. Hope 2020, this too shall pass. And of course, right now, the record is not available on Spotify because we're a distribution deal with the label. But you can direct message me on Facebook, Renaissance Rock Orchestra, or Gregg Fox Music on Facebook, and get a copy. I've actually been sending it out hundreds and hundreds of copies. It's crazy because it's so. I mean, and I need to be practicing Asia songs. But on A Song of Hope, I took a little bit slightly different course with the Renaissance Rock Orchestra. We had 27 different rock stars on In Times of Old, which is on Spotify for listening, which was fantastic to have so many different artists collaborate together in all their different styles to create different sort of tonalities and different kind of sounds. But on A Song of Hope, I wanted to create a little bit more of Renaissance Rock Orchestra sound. I also wanted to get away from the TSO style a little bit. And I had been hearing from everybody out in LA, different licensing people, TV people, film people, my management guys, and everybody's looking for that 80s sound.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's in my DNA. So to write that was really pretty simple. But of course, it's still going to have that progressive rock flavor that Renaissance Rock Orchestra always has with my classical influences and prog background. So, but there's vocals on every single song, and I put a band together of the same guys, the same drummer, the same singer, the same bass player. I did end up using 3 different guitar players. Started out mostly with Michael James Romeo from Symphony X.
Oh, wow.
Michael's such a monster. You know, he's rated by Burn magazine as one of the top 10 metal guitar players in rock history. and he's an amazing film scorer, a really brilliant artist. So I was really happy to start out the record with him on the title will be a song called In My Lovin Arms. And Michael starts out that song with this brilliant guitar riff that's just crazy. So Michael James Romeo plays 3 songs on the record and some brilliant solos. But I ended up having Grady from Hell Yeah do 2 songs with us. Yeah, Christian lives right here in Las Vegas, and we do a lot of other work together in other shows with Renaissance Rock Orchestra. And he also plays in my Led Zeppelin All-Star tribute show that plays here in Las Vegas called the Moby Dicks.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, we have Brian Tishy plays drum for that from Whitesnake and Foreigner, and Chaz West is the singer from the band Bonham. And Brian, Song of Hope, he's been on a lot of Renaissance Rock Orchestra records. He's such a powerful the spirit and the sound and stylings of John Bonham just live in his DNA. So very cool. The bass player on the record is Greg Smith, a guy from back east, a Jersey guy that was a good friend of Mikey Bones back in the day. So on the record, it was really cool to have Greg actually use Mikey's basses. Mikey's widow gave, I think, 2 of Mikey Bones' basses to Greg. But Greg has played with Alice Cooper. He currently with Ted Nugent. He's played with Alan Parsons, Tommy James and the Shondells, Blue Oyster Cult, Rainbow, Dokken, Richie Blackmore. I'm sure I've forgotten somebody because it's amazing. As a matter of fact, we just did an interview. We've been doing a lot of interviews with Robbie Lochner and Drake for the Hangout Live. And on YouTube, I just posted the interview with Greg Smith. So you should definitely go to YouTube and check his interview because you get to hear stories about Alice Cooper on the bus and a lot of really fun things. But singing on A Song of Hope is the amazing Mark Robert Bowles. For those of you that don't know Mark Bowles as a vocalist, one of the best voices in rock and roll. He was the singer on the Yngwie Malmsteen trilogy album.
Renaissance Rock Orchestra, In My Loving Arms.
probably Yngwie's best record ever, and he toured with Yngwie, but he's also toured with Ted Nugent and Dokken, and has brilliant voice. So Mark sings everything. He does. We have a song on there called "Circus Life." You can hear that on YouTube. That is very Queen. It sounds like a Queen song, just not with Freddie, but with Mark's brilliant voice. So yeah, we run the whole gamut on A Song of Hope. We do a Queen type song with Circus Life. In My Lovin Arms is kind of a Van Halen meets Dream Theater kind of thing. People love is very much Kansas styled song, a little bit more contemporary, with tonalities and so a little bit more metalish possibly, but you'll hear the Kansas style of that. I'm really happy about that song because it's the title of the record, and I was trying to create something on A Song of Hope that would help people through the pandemic and life, economic turbulence that everybody went through, and people that have been hearing the song on YouTube have been reaching out. The comments, it's just unbelievable how many comments about how this has helped me in my life with the loss of my parents and with the loss of my job. People have been going through. So I'm glad that it's been an inspiration to people. That to
Very
me,
cool.
as a songwriter, I could never hope for anything more than that it would really touch people in such a way, and it seems to have worked. So yeah, really glad about that.
That's awesome, man. That is absolutely awesome. Just to be able to work with that many people, and that's just so cool to me.
It's fun, like I say, I'm just so blessed to have amazing talented people. Well, since I've been in Las Vegas, I've just had so many situations where I've been able to do so many different types of shows with so many different legendary artists. I'm also the sub keyboard player for Michael T. Ross in a local show called Raiding the Rockfall. This number one rated musical in Las Vegas for like the last 7 years, I think. I sub for Mike T. when he's out doing other things, and whether he's doing shows with Lita Ford or he does a lot of different things out there too. So I get to do that fairly often also, but I've been able to work with so many brilliant artists, whether it's Jay Shellen, the drummer now for Yes, or Doug Aldridge from Whitesnake. Doug's one of the only guys that I haven't gotten on a Renaissance Rock Orchestra record yet that I really want to. So Doug, I hope you hear this, and I hope you know that you have that standing invitation. I know you want to do it too. Doug and I worked for several years in the Led Zeppelin All-Star show, the Moby Dick. He was our guitar player for probably at least 4 years before he started working so heavily with the Dead Daisies and his other original projects, Burning Rain, etc. Very busy guy. Great guitar player.
Very cool.
Yeah, so I hope we get Doug on a record one of these days. Oh, the other guy that I've never gotten on a record yet too, that's on my bucket list, is Mike Portnoy from Dream Theater. By the way, I love his new album with the band Transatlantic, new album called Absolute Universe. Brilliant, good stuff. But yeah, he got so busy after he left Dream Theater, as is Bumblefoot, who's on the Renaissance Rock Orchestra record at Times of Old. So if we could get Mike to do a track for us, we'd have two Sons of Apollo members in the band also, which would be cool.
Yeah, that would definitely be awesome. Well,
Yeah.
Greg, man, I appreciate you sitting in on this interview with me. We'll definitely have to do this. What's that?
Thank you so much, Wes. Yeah, it was nice to meet you and to hang and chat for a while. I could tell I could do 3 hours on Rock Orchestra about music, so we might have to do it again.
We definitely will. We definitely will do this again. Before you run, tell me what are 3 goals you have for your band this year?
Okay, 3 goals for the band. Wow. that's, well, this is probably going to be good for me to come up with these goals. I work so hard all the time. I wear all the hats in the Renaissance Rock Orchestra at this point in time. I do have management guys, but they're involved in a lot of other things, and they're working on some, on record deals and on various touring options. And I have an agent here in Las Vegas that works for me. And of course, Christina Avila is such an amazing promoter, East Coast promoter for me, Christina Avila Artist Promotions. So I do have people out there helping me, and I have a group of gals now that are trying to help me with a lot of social media things called I'm Charlie, they're my angels. And so it's nice to have people out there that are helping this thing grow. So one of my goals, of course, is to continue to be able to delegate all the things that need to be done as a publicist and a promoter, as a producer, as a songwriter, a composer, as a performer. I can't do it all, and I have been for so many years. So one of my goals is to have Team RRO continue to grow, so that I have more help, so I can get back to writing more music and getting to the next record. So that's definitely a goal there. The team's got to grow so I can delegate a lot of responsibility, so I can stop doing all those things and get back to performing, writing, and recording. So that's definitely a goal there. Another goal is definitely to have a Song of Hope distributed by a major record label. And so, yeah, the whole DIY scenario for Renaissance Rock Orchestra, I believe, is about to change. And I think that's really important. A lot of artists out there are doing it themselves. And a lot of people say, why do you need a label? Do you really need a label anymore? With streaming, with all the streaming platforms, yeah, you can distribute it yourself, et cetera, et cetera. But I believe for a band of this caliber, with artists that have this kind of legacy, this kind of rock history.
Yeah.
I mean, these are iconic players, a lot major distribution, and that the world needs to hear this music. And so I think to build the brand, the two other goals, the one thing is to build the brand, a major label that is going to bring all of its followers, so instantly, we have millions of people finding out about Renaissance Rock Orchestra with major distribution. But the other thing, of course, is to get out there and get Renaissance Rock Orchestra playing. So that residency here in Las Vegas is definitely my third goal this year, to get that residency. One of the reasons, once again, that's always been the plan for me is because so many of us live here in Las Vegas or are in LA. The major players in Renaissance Rock are close or live here. But I also believe, once again, it's the fastest way to build a brand. The expense of touring costs to travel is just unbelievable. It's sky high. So it's difficult to take a new project out touring, other than festivals. Okay, goal number 4. I have a lot of goals, Wes. We could talk for 2 hours about all my goals. Yeah, because I definitely want to do all the festivals. Another way to build the band, the band and the brand, is to play all these major festivals, mostly in Europe, Germany, and I think that they're going to love our music there. The style of what we do is so perfect for all those European festivals. Mm-hmm. So yeah, festivals, and to get the residency going here in Las Vegas, so people from around the world can come to see us. They'll know where we're at. It's easy to find us. So yeah, that's the short list.
Nice. We'll have to catch up again and get the full list.
Well, I'm sure it's going to continue to grow.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Absolutely. I like to stay busy. There's no doubt about that. Awesome. There's not enough time. I need 5 of me, honestly, Wes, to do all the things that I am currently doing. I keep telling my Charlie's Angels that.
Working on that cloning.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It was great to chat with you today. Make sure and play some Renaissance Rock Orchestra for all your followers.
Oh, we definitely will. We definitely will.
Yeah, and we want them all to go out and watch us on YouTube too. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I release new videos every Tuesday and every Friday, so there's always something new to check out every week. So, and we shall see you on the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rock Orchestra. Or on the road.
Nice. Well, thank you, sir, and I hope you have a good rest of your day, and we'll catch up later.
Hopefully, I'll see you in Atlanta and get to meet you personally sometime.
Mosh Pit!